What up, Panther Nation? Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Let's get in here. Everybody get in here. What's going on, Tally? Everybody get in here. Young stragglers, what up? Everybody get in here. Appreciate y'all. Doug, you fresh. What up? What up? Earl Lockley, appreciate you. DC Gabber, what's up? What's up? Appreciate everyone doing the live stream. That is in there. Agent Tack, what's up? Or Agent at AK, I don't know. Agent Tack, I think. What up? Appreciate everybody joining. Let the late stragglers get in here. We got 17 people watching. And of course, it's everyone that's joining in. Make sure you pound that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Agent Tack. All right, my bad. All right. All right, let's go. Let's get right into it. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. All right, let me edit this real quick. I'm going to move myself into a better position today, or a different position today. Not really sure where I want to put me. Maybe right here. Could go all the way across here, but I think that would be too big. Yeah, I think so. Here we go. This will work. Screw it. This will work. Ack as in, yeah, that's what I kind of figured. AK. Okay, Agent AK. My bad. There we go. All right. We're going to get right into it today. Realistic expectations. All right. So we all know, again, we need to be realistic with these expectations, folks. I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend, by the way. I know I did. A little bit too much. I'm still feeling it from I am still feeling it from this past weekend. Just went too hard in the paint. Let's just say that. Trying to update this. Okay, that's better. All right, I'm up here now, so y'all can still see everything that we got going on. Actually, you know what? Let's move this back. Let's move this over here. Let me move myself over here. And let's do this. Let's do this. Put myself right here. And then let's slide on over here. And let's go with save. Let's see how that looks. That's better. That is better. We can work with that. All right. So, okay. A lot of you guys always, when you come in here, we have people in the chat who are always like, I know there's different people here, right? We all have different expectations of this team. Just like the voter poll is, of course, we got the win total for the Carolina Panthers 2024. All right, we got 2 to 4 wins. We've got 5 to 7. We got 8 to 10. We got 11 plus. All right, some of you guys are going to be different. Whether you agree or disagree. Like, this is a year for the Carolina Panthers that we need to have some realistic expectations for some of you. I think a lot of you guys come in here and we just blatantly come out and just think that we're going to win 11 wins. I watched somebody's podcast the other day, and I watched some other podcasts that had their final record predictions, and I've seen some that go from 6 wins. I've seen some people say 8. I've seen them all, right? And I don't know what it is. There are some people out there that are just negative Nancy's. Like, I don't know. Like, if you root for this team, are you rooting for this team or are you rooting against them? Like, that's the thing I don't understand. Well, there's content creators out there that are like that. So I want to understand, because I feel like I don't understand some of these guys, right? Some of these content creators. I feel like I don't understand because you're so negative about the organization. You're so negative about Bryce Young. You're so negative about our head coach. And it's not just there's multiple content creators and it's multiple fans. There's a lot of mixed feelings here in this Carolina fan base. And it's like, okay, so are you rooting against the team or are you rooting for the team? Like, are you still rooting for him? Like, are you just like, you don't like Dave Canales? You don't like Bryce Young? Like, I just want to understand, right? That's what I want. I want to understand. Okay. So, anyways, as for the Carolina Panthers, though, we're entering in this 2024 season, a new chapter that's beginning under head coach Dave Canales. This isn't the first time the franchise has seen a regime change during David Tepper's ownership, which has been marked by instability, frequent overhauls, and so on and so forth. Canales is at the helm. There's hope for this like fresh start and more consistent future. Like, after years of this, like, these terrible decisions and a lack of clear direction, it seems like we finally might have a coherent vision, a solid long-term plan. Like, Tepper appears to be taking more of a hands-off approach. He's letting Dave Canales and Dan Morgan do their things, right? You got Panthers fans, and for Panthers fans, this is a reason for cautious optimism, okay? There's excitement about what's to come, for sure, but there's also recognition of the need for patience, right? So I'm going to give you some real expectations, and these are my realistic expectations right here. And we're going to go through each and every one of them, and I'm going to break them down. So the first one, as you see, is reduce penalties, right? You see reduced penalties. One of the Panthers' most glaring issues last season was the frequency of penalties, right? I think it was 7 false starts against Seattle. That's a perfect example. If I'm not mistaken, it was 7 or 8. It was up there. It was in that 6 to 8 range. I know that. So whether that was due lack of focus, discipline, or just simply not being well coached, I honestly think under Frank Wright, it was all three. That we were the most penalized team in the NFL. We averaged 6.1 penalties per game. That the team ranked 26th in the league. So to me, that is a clear indicator of the chaos and the plague under Frank Wright. It's leadership. It's a perfect example. That's why I said all three. That's why I said all three. Dave Canales has already made it clear that discipline fundamentals will be cornerstones of his approach. He's emphasized the importance of playing smart, mistake-free football, and early reports suggest that these players are responding well to his methods. However, you got to implement these principles in practice. And that is one thing. Executing them under the pressure of a live game is another. So for the Panthers to improve in 2024, you got to reduce the penalties. You got to avoid those costly mistakes, especially when it comes to pivotal moments. that can make a difference between you winning a game and losing a game. And sometimes that happens. So I think Canales, I need to see him instill a culture of accountability and focus, right? Ensuring that every player understands their role, understands the game plan, and sticks with it and executes it, right? Precision. And I know that's easier said than done, but with the right mindset, it's definitely an achievable goal. It's definitely an achievable goal. You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely an achievable goal. There's no reason for that. I wish there was a way I could fix the I can fix the comments, but I wish I could move the comments. That's the only thing I wish I could do. That's fine. I kind of like this one. Keep pounding the real Sunchild. Appreciate you joining, man. Appreciate you joining. Guys, make sure you pound that like button. We got over 17 people watching, 5 on X. So 17 on YouTube, 5 on X. Make sure you come over. Make sure you smash that like button. Feel free to get in the chat. Love to hear y'all's thoughts as we go throughout today's show. And you see across the ticker there. Like that, pound the like button, subscribe to the channel, get in the chat. Love to hear your comments. Smash that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. And of course, thank you as always for you continue showing your support. What's good, man? 2 growls, 1 war. What's going on? Appreciate you. Another realistic expectation: improve pass protection. Right? The Panthers' offensive line was a major weakness last year, particularly in pass protection. So injuries certainly play a big part. Even when healthy, though, the unit still struggled to keep Bryce Young upright. Okay. I mean, we're talking about a team that allowed an average of 3.8 sacks per game. And the Panthers tied for second most in the league with that number, climbing to like a 4.3 at home. So for Young to develop and succeed, this offensive line has to perform better. Taylor Moton's been the most reliable tackle on this line. Even though I do believe we need to restructure his contract, and there are some moves that we need to do. I think we need to look into, and maybe we'll look into those this week, how we can help get some more cap space. Even though it's not that big of a deal and big of a need for the Carolina Panthers right now. But it would benefit us to help open up some room. But we'll talk about that maybe more later on this week. The rest of the unit just needs to step up, though, right? The person that needs to step up the most to me is Ike Ekwonu, who admitted to be complacent after that first rookie season. So I need to see him be a recommitment to the fundamentals and technique that can help him and his line mates be better to protect your quarterback. Canales' offensive strategy also, I think, is going to help. I think the scheme's going to help. It's going to help take off some pressure to Bryce Young, not only in the pass protection, but also in the run game. It's going to help open up the run game to open up the pass. That's what the wide zone scheme does, basically. And that is in layman terms for some of you guys that don't understand it. And we've broken down the wide zone scheme that Canales is going to run. I think maybe we might need to break that down again before the season starts, because I really want y'all to have a better understanding. All right. Additionally, you got the play design that he's going to be doing also is going to allow him to release the ball quicker in Bryce Young. Okay. All right. You got to utilize these new big interior offensive line that you spend $150 million on, like Robert Hunt, right? And of course, Damon Lewis. All right. So the Panthers can better protect their quarterback. I feel like they can, right? I think if I see if that offensive line plays again like they did against the Bills, I know again it's preseason. I get it. Second team, not all the starters. Understood. But neither was all of our starters on the offensive line. So even if that's the line that we went into week 1 with, and I saw that against the Bills, I'd be happy. Right? So if these adjustments that we've made go as planned, the sack number should drop. Right? The sack number should drop significantly. And then that means you give Young a better chance to develop and lead this team effectively. Right? Yep. Back in bid. What's up? What's up? Appreciate you joining, man. We released Chase on. I saw that. He's probably, it's unfortunate, man. Just some of these guys. What up, PPP? Again, some of these guys got it. Some of these guys just don't. It's crazy to me that Kavlon Chasen, who is a first round pick back in 2020, cannot seem to get it together. Cannot seem to be a decent pass rusher. And to me, that probably open up some cap space. So they're probably going to be, I guarantee you, they're probably looking into some more pass rushers, guys. They're probably going to be looking into some pass rushers. And I won't be surprised. There's there is 3 moves out there that we can do to restructure this cap space because they're going to need it. And I think that's one way they can do it, to bring in that they can bring in. But they're going to have to restructure they're going to have to do some things to do that. And I was looking at it. Number one of them, they're going to have to restructure. They need to restructure. Taylor Moton. They need to go out there and go ahead and extend Deontay Johnson. And they need to go ahead and trade Miles Sanders. And if they do all 3 of those things, and I did it on the over the cap, and we'll break this down another day. But I did it on the over the cap. Go do a restructure on over the cap. Go extend Deontay Johnson on over the cap, and then go into and trade Miles Sanders. You would save this team almost close to $20 plus million if they did all of that before week 1. Then I'm dead ass serious. But I'm going to break that down more for you guys this week. We're going to talk about what they could do to open up some of this room. But I don't know how much money they saved off a Chase on release. I would have to go look at over the cap for that. But I'm not surprised, man. I mean, the guy's been in the league since 2020. It was a first round pick. And if Evero can't get the best out of him, I know it's just one off season, but the guy must not be it. Whatever that is, that ain't it. And I'm sure your friends have said that. We saved $2 million. Thank you, 2 Growls Run War. So we saved $2 million. So there's 3 more moves that need to be made. Trade Miles Sanders. You save like 6 point something million. You extend Deontay Johnson now. You save like 7 point something million. And if you restructure Taylor Moton, you save like 8 point something million. I have to go back and look at it. But we'll break that down this week. We'll break that down more this week. We'll talk more about that cap space. All right. Boosting. The next one. Boost rushing efficiency. What does that mean? How does that work? Well, under Dave Canales, we're expected to be that run-heavy team now, right? Guys mentioned it multiple times. We're going to be taking advantage of the team's upgraded offensive line, hopefully, right? Robert Hunt, Damian Lewis, strengthen up that interior, right? So this is going to create more opportunities for this run game to flourish, which I could see Chuba Hubbard and I'm going to give you all some bold predictions just for fun. All right, we got to make it fun. I'm not going to be in here and be negative Nancy, right? But Canales' offensive scheme is designed to play these strengths. That's what it is. It's a power running style. And that could become the team's hallmark, which is fine. I know this is a pass catching league. We like the flashy plays. It might not be the sexiest thing, but if it wins me 10, 11 games, by all means, keep running the damn ball. And hell, that might be my motto this season, folks. Run the damn ball. I might make shirts that just says, keep pounding the ball. Or keep running the ball. I don't know. I'm going to come up with a slogan maybe for this season. As much as I want Bryce to improve, but that might be my slogan this year. Run the damn ball. Or keep pounding the ball. I don't know. Keep pounding the middle. I don't know. I'm going to come up with a slogan. But but last season the Panthers averaged like 4 yards per carry. That was 23rd in the league. And that was with a more robust offensive line. That's the nicest way I can put it. Okay. So now we're focused on running the ball. This number should improve, right? Now, I think although Jonathan Brooks, our second round pick out of Texas, is still recovering from that ACL tear, I think Chuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders are ready to carry that load until he returns. And both players have shown promise during this offseason. Miles Sanders lost some weight. He seems to be trying to get himself back to what he was. And I'd love to see that. I'd love to see Miles Sanders return back to what he was and what we saw at the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Until Jonathan Brooks returns. And then you trade him and you get more upside out of him. That's the way I'm looking at it. Some of you may agree. Some of you may not. But both players have shown promise during this offseason, Miles and Hubbard. Developing chemistry, obviously showcasing their potential in this system. I think if the offensive line can open up those lanes and the running backs can take advantage of those things, the Panthers should see significant gains in their rushing efficiency. A strong run game will not only help control the clock and keep the opposing defenses honest and on the field longer, but also take some pressure off of Bryce Young, right? That allows him to develop without being forced to shoulder that whole offensive load, right? That's what that run game's going to do for us, folks. All right. I don't think my expectations are very, very over optimistic. I don't think they're very over. These are very simple, realistic expectations. All right. Next one, increase the turnover differential. What does that mean? Again, this is another area. When I was making this list, I was looking at us last year and I was saying, what can we improve on? These are the areas. These are the 5 areas that we could improve on. Honestly, if we check every one of these off, this team could win that 10, 11 games. But I don't expect us to check off every one of these lists. All right. In one off season and one season alone. It just doesn't work that way sometimes. But this is where we need to improve. And creating turnovers on defense, protecting the ball on offense, that's where we struggled last season. Big time. Last season, this team finished with a turnover differential of -9. We were 25th in the league last year. That is a lack of ball security and an inability to really capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. And that was a huge factor last year. You got Evero, decision to remain with us. That's a huge plus. Okay. He's got a chance to shape this defense that can be an opportunistic, aggressive, take advantage of the turnovers they create. While there have some changes in personnel, Evero has brought in players who are familiar with the scheme. That should also help minimize growing pains and allow this defense to hit the ground running. Now, on offense, we got to protect the football, right? Bryce needs to make better decisions. Avoid those rookie mistakes from last year, right? Can he flip that narrative, right? So if the Panthers can flip the turnover differential into a positive territory, we can find ourselves and a much better chance to win games, right? This will also provide the offense with more short fields and opportunities to score, which should then become a welcome relief for a team who is looking to find its identity all over again. And last but not least, let's restore this team's pride. Above all else, the Panthers need to restore the keep pounding mantra in this organization again. Again, that's been part of this offseason, is that mantra getting restored. Last season, we were at a low point in this whole organization's history with only 2 wins, with countless embarrassing moments both on and off the field. You're for especially for a general manager and Dan Morgan and new head coach who are trying to rebuild this team, rebuild this reputation. That is a top priority, right? The X's and O's and the first 4 things are very important too. But I think you need to restore this team's pride first before this starts coming together. Right? And Morgan has made it clear that he wants this team to be feared once again. Right? If you look back when this team was known for its toughness and competitiveness, this requires a shift in culture and attitude where every player is committed to fighting for every yard, every game, regardless of the circumstances. I would much rather lose games like we were a couple of years ago, when it was at least still exciting football, when we had the DJ Moore, when we had Christian McCaffrey, than sit here and lose games like we did last year. That would be a lot better. Now, losing in general sucks, but this team really needs to start winning again. But I again, when I break down that game by game prediction, I still believe it's a progress year. So fans have been through a lot during this Tepper's time here. We've had broken promises, we've had unmet expectations, right? But what they want now is a team that competes hard, plays smart, represents the city of Charlotte with pride, right? Achieving this is not going to be easy. It won't happen overnight. And I don't hope you can't tell me it will. Right? You can't tell me this is going to happen overnight. I just don't see it. But if we can show that we're moving in the right direction, just be more competitive, find a few more wins, it's going to go a long way. Winning back the support and the enthusiasm of this long suffering fan base. All right. So these are my big focus. Reduce the penalties, improve the pass protection, boost that run game, increase the turnover differential, and restore this team's pride. And I think we're making strides in that direction right now. I think these are very realistic. I think these are very attainable for us this upcoming season. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream, and make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys in the chat right now. What's up, Cyburn? What's up, Mike? 2 Growls More War still in here. Doug's in here. So I appreciate y'all in here. Appreciate everyone. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button. Feel free to get in the comment section. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. Might open up the phone lines today for you guys to come in. Say your piece. Let's get right into the next topic, though. Here are my goals for Bryce Young this upcoming season. These are very attainable. These are very realistic. This is a pivotal season that lies ahead for Bryce Young. He has to be looking to bounce back from last year, right? Despite the high expectations, we're in on every deal. We look good on paper. The positive buzz that was surrounding Frank Wright's arrival. All of that failed to provide this kid, a first-year quarterback, that supportive environment that he needed, whether you believe that or not. What seemed to be an ideal setup for a young quarterback quickly unraveled into an absolute chaos. Mismanagement, uninspired offense, lack of protection, all contributed to a season that didn't go according to plan, especially for your first overall pick out of Alabama, Heisman Trophy winner. Instead of being more of nurtured and developed and actually putting an offensive scheme that fit him and the players surrounding him, instead, you found himself stuck in this whole bit of confusion with this coaching staff, front office that was more focused on appeasing our owner, David Tepper, than developing the first overall quarterback that you drafted, that you basically had to, that you traded up for, that you invested wholeheartedly for. Right? So now the winds have changed. We have swept through Carolina. Dave Canales, again, new head coach, who's brought this whole new sense of optimism, right? His approach is different than what we had last year. We had Eeyore. This year we have Tigger. That's the best way I can kind of think about it. I don't know why Winnie the Pooh sticks in my head. I guess because of just how boring Frank Wright was and how cringeworthy he was when he spoke, and when he won a game, his woo just sounded like nobody believed in him. It was just bad. It was bad. It was bad. But then you bring in this young coach full of optimism, Dave Canales. So these are my goals right here for Bryce Young. First things first, let's talk about the must-inspired confidence, right? What's the narrative that surrounds this kid right now is sharply divided, right? It's absolutely divided by this fan base. Some fans, some analysts have written him off as a bust already, while we have others who still believe he's the franchise quarterback who can lead this team to glory days, right? As for me, if you watch my show enough, you know me, I'm a believe it when I see it type of guy. Here's the thing. I like Bryce Young. I want to believe in Bryce Young. I want to see him prove to me that he can beat the franchise. I'm not like some of these guys out here just like, nah, he's a bust. I'm giving the kid a chance because I feel like I can't base off what happened last year with everything going on from the front office to the coaching staff to the personnel around him and not give this kid a fair shot. While I'm willing to give others on that team last year a fair shot that are still on this team. Right? So if we want to shift the scales in his favor, Bryce Young's got to inspire confidence, not only in himself, but in his teammates and this fan base. Right? He needs to step up as a leader on and off the field. His teammates have to see him as a player who can deliver under pressure, someone who can rally this team in tough situations, elevate the performance of those around him. That's a big one. Elevate others around him. And that's tough to do. It's more about It's more than just about making those plays. It's about setting a tone, demonstrating that poise, showing resilience when things aren't going your way. Right? This season is his chance to silence the doubters. He's well aware of the critics' skepticism that follow him after that rookie year last year. If he can channel into that motivation, translate into that into the improved play, and he not only will win over his critics, but he will also rejuvenate this fan base who are just desperate for something to believe in. I think that's the biggest issue on this fan base is they can't believe. Right? Right? Raw Walk, what's up? Donnie Lynn, what's up? Appreciate you joining. Right? Next things first. Get the ball out quicker. Get the football out quicker. That is one of the key areas that Dave Canales has identified to help Bryce Young this offseason. Decision-making speed, right? Now, we know Dave Canales is known for his ability to develop quarterbacks. Canales has wasted no time in setting a clear objective for Young. Get the ball out faster, right? The focus is to reduce Young's time to release, aiming for that 2.7 second window. This adjustment is going to require Young to have, guess what? Which was a big issue last year. More precise and quick footwork. Right? And when I mean more precise, he's more not on his tippy toes. He takes that step drop, takes that 3-step drop out of under center. He takes that 1-step drop out of shotgun, plants his feet and throws. Last year, we saw a little bit too much backpedaling on his tippy toes, and you saw a lot of erratic throws, right? You saw more of the erratic, even with the same thing with the deep ball accuracy. He was more accurate when he actually had his feet planted if you watch his game film and you break it down. That's a story for another day. But the ability to snap decisions under pressure, fast footwork, right? A mental processing speed, processing that defense. That is a challenging task for any quarterback, particularly, especially for these younger guys still adapting to the speed and complexity of the NFL. Just like the Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake Mays, the guys that just came in, Bo Nix, they might look good during preseason. They might look good in training camp. But when the pads and the real time comes on, we'll see what they really can bring to the table. And then, hey, if they all go out there and ball out, more power to them. Right? More power to them. Appreciate everyone in here. Do me a favor. Where are we at on the likes? We got 21 likes. We got 32 people watching. He said he's Dan not playing. He said he good to keep going over the roster. Yeah. That is what is called being in on every deal. Though, Earl. That is how you are in on every deal. What Dan Morgan's doing is he's going to be in on every deal, so to speak, or every player. They are going to process that and figure out who they can bring in, who they can take out, what they can do better, right? That is what you want out of a GM. How can we improve every part of this roster, right? And make it as well-rounded as possible. So early in training camp, though, we're still talking about that, getting that ball out quicker, right? Young struggled with his shift as expected, but over time he began to adapt, right? With this shift change, he was and which is expected, he struggled. But over time, he began to adapt. By the final weeks of the summer, his release was noticeably quicker. His decision making was more decisive. These improvements were evident during these limited preseason action. We saw that against the Bills, like I said, where he looked more comfortable, looked more confident. He executed the offense. If he can continue to accelerate his decision making, and especially as the regular season unfolds, it will not only reduce the number of sacks he takes, but it'll also open up more opportunities for big plays. So this could be a huge game changer for this offense, which struggled to find any rhythm last year, right? Now, another thing he's got to improve on is his completion percentage. That was one thing that we were talking about last year was one of the standout traits that made Bryce Young such a prospect coming out of Alabama was his accuracy, right? Because of his completion percentage in college was a 65.8%, that he was known for his precise throws and ability to really dissect defenses quickly at Alabama. That's what made him a Heisman Trophy winner. His rookie season painted that a total different picture, for sure, right? So when you look at if you go look at last season, he had a completion percentage of a 59.8%. Now, according to PFF, out of 103 of his 527 attempts, they were classified as bad throws. That is a troubling 21.5%. So that a combination of factors contribute to this decline, right? Again, the offensive scheme, the inconsistent plays of receivers, no separation, the offensive line often left him running for his life. Those challenges, even though despite those challenges, those are also positive signs that Young is ready to bounce back, because the offseason, he's shown improved chemistry with his new and returning targets. He's been more accurate in practice sessions. With a fortified offensive line, upgraded weapons, Young has the tools to raise his completion percentage significantly in 2024, right? To succeed, Young is going to need to make the most opportunities downfield, and particularly when windows are tight. If he can do that, he'll demonstrate to everyone that accuracy wasn't just a college fluke, but it was a fundamental part of his game that he can translate to the pro level, right? Now, another thing he needs to fix, we're going to continue here, enhance that red zone efficiency. This is one of the most glaring issues for the Carolina Panthers offense last season. And it actually has been for a very long time, even during the Matt Rule era, right? And it's not just, but this is not just because of Bryce Young. This has been going on since we had Teddy check down, Sam Darnold, all these other guys here. It's been the same thing. All right. So this is nothing new for the Carolina Panthers. Okay. They have been terrible in the red zone for years now. So scoring touchdown in these critical areas proved to be a significant challenge last year. Much of that can be attributed to unimaginative offensive scheme again, lack of separation, right? In tight coverage situations, it's tough. So improve this red zone efficiency. That's got to be a key focus. Revamp the playbook's been revamped, redesigned by Dave Canales. So that means that plays for Young's strengths, offensive line has been bolstered with new talent. The pieces are in place. Everything's there for a more efficient red zone attack. But Young needs to demonstrate more assertiveness, more confidence, especially when this team is close to scoring. It's about understanding the urgency of those moments and executing with precision, right? Because we know that Canales is known for his ability to design creative red zone plays. You saw that last year in Tampa Bay, right? With a plan for Young to follow. But if Young can execute these plays with conviction, the Panthers should see a significant uptick in their red zone scoring percentage, right? The area of the game often separates good quarterbacks from the great ones, especially in the red zone. So if Young can turn those red zone trips into touchdowns, that's a huge boost for this team's overall performance. And I think it's also a testament to his growth and leadership and decision making. And then last but not least, trust his underrated mobility. Bryce Young's mobility, to me, is an underrated aspect of his game. And that the Panthers need to utilize more effectively. He's not a run-first quarterback, but his ability to move in and out of the pocket, extend plays with his legs, pick up crucial yards on the ground adds an important dimension to his game. Last season, Young seemed too hesitant to be mobile, often because he had little time to really survey the field due to that offensive line. Now you got those improvements. He should feel more comfortable moving around in the pocket, trusting his instincts to take off when the situation calls for it. The mobility is more than just scrambling yards, though. Right? It's about keeping the play alive, forcing these defense to account for every possibility, right? If Young can show more confidence in using his leg, whether it's to evade pressure or to make a run for a first down, it'll keep defenses honest and create additional opportunities for offense. As Young is going into this next year, right? Understanding to when to stay in the pocket and when to be mobile, that is crucial in his game. It's a delicate balance. I know that. But mastering it could significantly impact his development and success in 2024. Right? So for Bryce, it's all about redemption and growth, right? I think these are the focuses that he needs to focus on. I think these goals are very attainable. I think it's very realistic. I don't think I'm going overboard with it, right? I think inspiring confidence, speeding up his release, improving his accuracy, be more efficient in the red zone, trusting his mobility, right? Then he can turn things around and set a foundation for himself and the future of this franchise. You got Dave Canales and a very supportive front office on his side. And if he can do that, then the stage is set for Bryce Young to prove why he was number one overall and why he was drafted number one. And then hopefully he can lead this team to brighter days. But I still need to see all 5 of these things before I can do anything else. Guys, make sure you pound that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Appreciate you joining. We got 16 people watching on Twitter. We got 37 people watching on YouTube, and we got 1 person watching on Twitch, which I just started doing Twitch, so I'm not surprised I only have 1 person there. So it's all good. Let's talk about the offensive potential. All right, we're going to get right into this. So we're approaching this 2024 season, and it's already here. There's that sense of, again, we all have that sense of hope, right? There's a bunch of new faces. Dave Canales marks a pivotal change for this Panthers team, the direction they're going. Quarterback-friendly offensive scheme, energetic approach. He's tasked to rejuvenating this team, right? So, again, the potential, the offensive potential, Bryce Young's growth, Canales' impact. At the heart of the Panthers' potential resurgence of course, again, we were just talking about him, is Bryce Young, right? Just showing flashes of brilliance, right? During training camp, displaying improved mechanics, accuracy, mobility, confidence. We were just talking about that. We've seen all 5 of the things that I was just talking about last year. We saw it in the preseason game against the Bills. We saw it in the joint practice against the Jets. We've seen it throughout the offseason. Again, now it's time to prove that in a real game, in a full real game. So, obviously Canales' offense acumen is expected to play a crucial role in Young's development. Much like hold on. You know what? Before I get into this, I feel like I missed some comments earlier. Who do you think? Okay, Chase on. I think there's some guys out there. There's probably still some guys out there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to side him. I still think that Yannick Ngakoue is still out there. You got a Carl Lawson, I think, is still out there. If we're talking about an edge rusher, yeah, as of right now, the top guys that we could go after, James Island Panthers, the top guy that we could go after right now is either Randy Gregory, Yannick Ngakoue, Charles Harris, which we worked him out. It doesn't sound like he's coming aboard. Shaq Lawson. And really after that, that's it. That's really it. So there's not much out there. So who do I think they'll replace Jason with? I don't know. Probably DJ at this point. Since Chason's off the roster, we go look at the roster, James Island, and we say, well, who's going to take his place? It's DJ Johnson until Wanham gets back. And then who knows what that Jamie Sheriff kid's going to do. And Iku Leota looked good in preseason. So, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of slim pickings there. Let me get to Jeff R. Jeff R came in and said, I'm not as critical on Bryce as most. I like him for the most part. I just wish he would step into the pocket more, deliver the deep ball. Do you think he's too small to step in the pocket? Jeff R., I don't think he's too small to step in the pocket. I mean, we saw that against the Bills, and he was able to step up in the pocket in the preseason game and do it. I think the size gets talked about way too much. Back end Biv. If this was Madden, I would say, yeah, you could go get him. Carl Lawson, no, sir. Yeah. I mean, that's all they got left, Doug. I'm just mentioning names there. Yeah, and back end Biv, if this was Madden, I would say so. I saw Madden 25 gameplay in week 1, and one of them had 2 picks. Norman. Hey, that's Madden, man. This is a total different ball game. And no pun intended on that. Okay. No pun intended. All right. Let's get back into this real quick. So, again, the heart of this team's resurgence relies on Bryce Young, right? Again, we've seen the flashes of brilliance during training camp. We've seen the new improved mechanics. We've seen the accuracy. We've seen the mobility. We've seen the confidence. Canales' offensive acumen is obviously playing a crucial role in Young's development, much like it did with other quarterbacks in his previous coaching time. Again, Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, Russell Wilson. Okay. Young doesn't need to be a superstar overnight. That's why I gave you these 5 realistic expectations. And those are very realistic and very attainable, right? If he can improve on all 5 of these things, you might have a franchise quarterback, right? He doesn't need to be a superstar overnight. The Panthers are hopeful he can channel some of that magic that made him a standout at Alabama. The offensive line was a glaring weakness last season, right? We fixed that up. So revamping the line should give Young more time to make plays, open up opportunities for that more of that balanced attack. You got new weapons like Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette at his disposal. He has the potential to make a significant improvement in performance. Possibly, I could see, and here's the thing, I'm not going to say that this is my bold prediction, and maybe I'm being a little bit bold saying this, but I could see this kid breaking into the top 15, top 20 quarterbacks. And maybe, and what I mean by that, in the top 15, top 20 in QBR this season. The potential's there. And I don't think that's crazy. I don't think that's crazy for a guy going into his second year. All right. Hey, Rockstar, how's it going? We finally getting a little break from this brutal heat. Humidity this week is a little bit better. 70s lower humidity has been awful. Myrtle. Yep. Hey, man. Yeah, it's been nice today. It's been very nice today. What's up, Kawan Swain? Did Peyton have the same head coach in his rookie year? I want to say no. I'm not too sure. I can't remember if Peyton Manning had, and I'm assuming you're saying Peyton Manning. So, I don't know if Peyton Manning had his or not, but I think he didn't. I think he didn't. I could be wrong. All right, let's move on. Defensive concerns, pass rush, and secondary. So, yes, there are reasons for optimism in this offense, but the defense still remains a question mark in major areas for me, right? The last season, the pass rush was nearly non existent. Let's be honest. We bring in Jadeveon Clowney. You lose guys like Frankie Louvu, right? You lose guys like Jeremy Chin. You lose guys like Dante Jackson. You lose guys like Brian Burns, right? You lose a lot of defensive pieces, right? But again, last season still, that pass rush was still non existent, right? There's still no proven sack threat besides Jadeveon Clowney. And we just let Kavlon Chasen go. So there is a lack of depth at the outside linebacker. And that is a glaring issue that could be exposed if injuries strike. Now, the secondary did raise some concern for me. It's still a little bit of a concern, but not as much after the moves we made, bringing guys in like, Keenan Isaac and Abraham and Tyreek Fields, those guys. I'm trying to remember their names. Can't remember all of them off the top of my head because they just recently came in, but I think I got most of their names correct. I can see their faces. That's the thing. I can see their faces. So yeah, Tyreek Castro Fields, there he is. Keenan Isaac and Shamar Bartholomew, both of those guys. Which Shamar Bartholomew was the seemed to be the hot commodity out of the waiver wires this year. But anyways, outside of JC Horn, you got Troy Hill and you got Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson's actually going to be he's going to be an upgrade compared to Dante Jackson last year. I'm liking what they're bringing in with this secondary with these big 6'1", 6'2", 210, 220, 215 corners. Guys who can obviously have the wingspan, have the physicality. I like what these guys bring together. But there are some just unproven talent in that room, right? I think JC Horn is going to stay healthy this year. I think he's going to be a game changer for this defense. And that's a big given. And that's a big if given his track record. But I truly believe that this year. I think the team will need players like Trevin Wallace who looks to be an absolute stud. And I've been eating my crow because I did not like the pick. I want to see him step up, maybe fill in some key roles if they hope to obviously contain some of these opposing offenses. I mean, I'm going to give you some bold predictions, though. I think that Chuba Hubbard, if I'm going to give you my few hot takes, because that's one of the things. All right. Let's see what we got. Damn. So Swan's coming in with that. I'm going to the game with my friend who's a Saints fan. I just pray it's not a miserable experience. Norman Davis, I feel you, man. I went to it last year, and let's just say after like 5 minutes before the game was over with, I left. Edge rush by committee. That's what it seems the approach to be, Donnie. I like the fact that they've acquired young talent in the defense with attributes that they like, so that Evero could start developing while he's here. Yeah, and that's huge because I'm just going to call you Demex. I'm going to call you Demex. Demex, I think that he'll be gone next year. I think Evero will be gone next year, guys. I think he will find a head coaching job next year. It just depends on how this defense looks, though. I mean, there might be someone out there who doesn't. Not my bad, Doug. My bad. See, Doug, he correct me all the time, man. Correcting me all the time, Doug. Nah, Doug keeps me, like I said, Doug keeps me straight. Donnie with a $5 dono. Appreciate that $5 dono by Donnie. I appreciate you, my guy. I really do appreciate that. That is absolutely wonderful. So, guys, if you want to help donate to the channel like Donnie did, appreciate that with a $5. Appreciate that $5 dono. Appreciate that. Yeah. 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 $5 dono. Yeah. I love it. Love it. Appreciate it, Donnie. What was Chase Hahn's contract? I'm not sure, Donnie. I would have to go look at it. Love it. Love it. I'd have to go look at it. I don't think it was very expensive. I think he was part of that group, even with like Damian Lewis. I want to say he was part of like the 1.15, whatever it was. I want to say it was very small. I want to say it's very small, Donnie. Yeah, we saved $2 million dropping him. I just couldn't find his contract on Over the Cap. They don't have it on there. I don't see it because I think they did. So his actually, Donnie, never mind. His contract was, so we were paying him 1.1 this year. So he was part of that 1.1, but his contract was a $2.5 million contract. Donnie, 2.5 million. But we saved so it was 2.5 million per year. So yeah. So basically it was a $5 million contract, it looked like. But we took a $500,000 cap hit with Cavalon Chasen, but it looks like like PPP said, we saved 2 million. So Doug in here. What up, Vietnam? I should be like all of you Debbie Downers and say 13-4, but now we're gonna win 7 games. There you go. There you go. Trying to get cap compliant. Yes, sir. Yeah, so Donnie, I found it all now. For some reason, Over the Cap was being funky. Yeah, it's a good deal. I mean, it worked out. I think the next deal they need to make, of course, is restructure Mr. Taylor Moton, extend Deontay Johnson, and then trade Miles Sanders, and they will be back in the 20s in cap space if they do all of that. They'll take some dead cap hit on some of it, but not as much. Plus, we're already eating it all now, and then we'll have top 10 cap space next year. All right. What y'all been waiting for? What y'all been waiting for right here? This is what y'all been waiting for, game by game. And this is what it's going to be for me, game by game. Prediction. All right. Game by game prediction. We start off week 1. I have a loss. Okay. We're in New Orleans. We got a roster full of new faces. You got a fresh head coach in Dave Canales, who's not only 1 year play calling experience. There's a lot to prove here, folks, still. Okay. Maybe some of you don't agree with this. But again, I'm going to be very, very realistic with my prediction this year. Because last year I said 10-7 or 10-6, whatever it was. And I've been eating my crow, and I'm not doing that again this year. Okay. This year is realistic expectations, and I'm keeping them at a minimum. Right. So the Saints they're obviously banking on veteran quarterback Derek Carr to steer this ship through what could be a pivotal season. And we're going to break more of this game down this week, obviously. Plus, you got to tune in tonight to the NFC South Roundtable on Roundtable Sports. Y'all know where it's at. Make sure you tune in tonight. We're doing a week 1 preview. Mr. Bucks Nation, TJ from the State of the Saints podcast, and then, of course, myself. And I think it's Berto 95 South, if I'm not mistaken. He's doing it tonight. Not sure if it's him or Smitty, but one of the Falcons guys will be on there. All right, so make sure you guys tune in tonight, 7 p.m., same time, same place. You know where to find me. All right. So I think so in week 1, I just think the Saints experience, the continuity gives them the edge, but I expect the Panthers to put together a tough fight. I think the game's going to be a lot closer than what it was last year. And I anticipate their defense, and I anticipate our defense to rattle Derek Carr. If they can rattle Derek Carr, and they consistently are doing it throughout the game, they can win this game. It's not this game. Again, I think this game's a toss-up too, but I'm taking the week 1 loss just because of their experience alone. And I think that's a fair point. All right. Next one. I got week 2 loss. Pay it now. Listen, I know some of you are not going to like my predictions, but guys, it's not me being a Debbie Downer. I'm being just realistic with you. Okay. All right. I see some of you guys in the chat. Don't hate me for it. Don't hate me for it. All right. I think this is a loss. Okay. I know this is a home opener. You're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to have this team ready, though. I think Harbaugh is no stranger to grinding out wins. I think when you've got a gunslinger like Justin Herbert behind a reinforced offensive line, they're going to be a formidable foe. I think we'll have a gritty effort. I think the Panthers will likely fall short against a well-coached Chargers team. All right. And I look for the battle in the trenches. I think that's going to determine the outcome. The trenches will determine the outcome against the Chargers game. All right. As Carolina line may struggle against their offensive line, because the Chargers got a nice line. All right. They got a nice line. All right. All right, let's move on. Week 3, I see a win. Okay. We turn it around in week 3. All right. We turn it around in week 3. I know heading into week 3 is not ideal, winless, right? I know it's not ideal, but this matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, I think it's a turning point. Gardner Minshew under center, the Raiders have some glaring vulnerabilities against this Carolina's defense, and I think particularly under Evero can craft that up and exploit that. I expect the Panthers to snag their first win here. I think if Evero's defense can fluster Minshew, force him to make mistakes, I think Bryce Young might just walk away with his first NFL road victory here. Week 4, Joe Burrow, that's a loss for me. Again, they should. I think the Panthers will be fine. They're trying to set their rhythm, right? You bring in the Cincinnati Bengals, who are going to make, I think, another deep playoff run. That's going to be a significant test. I see the Bengals, who have a potent offense, obviously to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, right? I think that's going to make them a tough nut to crack. So I think this game might be a bridge too far for the Panthers. I think Dave Canales may get creative, but I think the offensive firepower is going to be too much for us to handle. So I got them a loss here. All right, we're 1-3 so far. Week 5, fuck the Bears, respectfully. I think this is a rivalry that just is somehow unfolding, but we visit the Chicago Bears, who have capitalized on our terrible 2023 season. They snagged that number 1 pick. They draft Caleb Williams. The Panthers have a point to prove that in this one. I think they aim to validate their investment in Bryce Young. This game is all about redemption. I think it's fueled by pride and the desire to make their own mark. I think the Panthers edge out the Bears in a hard fought contest. I give them the win here against the Bears. All right. I give them the win. Next one, week 6. We got back-to-back. We got back-to-back wins here. All right. All right. Back-to-back wins, restoring their NFC South reputation is high on the Panthers' agenda. As then we go against Kirk Cousins and the Falcons. Now they're at the helm. A new head coach, Raheem Morris. They're gearing up for a division title run. I think Carolina's defense in this game, especially if they can pressure Cousins, could turn the tide. Now, winning the turnover battle will be key to secure the victory in this divisional clash, but I think they get the dub. Week 7, I think it's a loss. All right. The Commanders are, I think, this year are a wild card this year after a major overhaul in the ownership, front office, coaching staff. You bring in a dynamic quarterback and Jaden Daniels leading the way. I think the Panthers are going to face a stiff test here on the road. I think even though that despite their efforts, I think the Panthers might falter against a rejuvenated team. You're talking about the reunion of former Panthers, Frankie Louvu, Jeremy Chin. That kind of adds that extra layer of intriguing matchup. But I think we take an L. All right. We're at Denver. I got to win here. I don't believe in Bo Nix. I don't believe in the hype train. I think there's a lot of high hopes with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. But I think this is a time where Carolina will go in, take and capitalize on the inexperience of Bo Nix. I think Evero's defense is going to confuse Nix. He's going to limit Nix and this Broncos offense, right? Because besides Courtland Sutton, and we don't know what Troy Franklin's going to be, who does he have to throw to? Because Jared Judy's not there anymore. So, I think the Panthers have a good shot of snagging a road win here. And I'm taking that chance at week 8. So, we're 4-4. Week 9, we get them back. We get the Saints back. All right, we get a second crack at the Saints, this time on our home turf with the season's midpoint approach. I think Carolina will look to solidify their record and build some momentum. And I'd say they get a win here. And that's a significant shift in the NFC South dynamics. I expect the Panthers to come out swinging, make a statement in front of their home crowd against the New Orleans Saints. Okay? So 5-4. Week 10. I got that as a win. All right. I got that as a win. I want this as a win. All right. Because we head to Munich. It's an international showdown, right? This game also marks the first encounter with Brian Burns since the trade. In what could be a tight contest, poised under pressure from Bryce Young might be the deciding factor against a scrutinized Daniel Jones, who I think is trash. And I think also the New York Giants will be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers over the New York Giants. 6-4 so far. Okay. We're at a bye week. All right. Week 12 is a loss. Simple, easy. You're going up against the toughest test that we will face all season long. Super Bowl champs, Patrick Mahomes, an absolute juggernaut. It's a tall order to beat the Chiefs. I think this is a game, though. This is a game that Carolina, I think, up to this point in the season, when we get there, would need a win over the Kansas City Chiefs, because that is a benchmark to where we can gauge our progress. I think this is a huge benchmark game, though, as well, to see where we are. I think a win seems unlikely, but this is one of those games where Carolina could be sneaky and somehow pull it off. But I just, as of right now, I see it as a loss. So up to this point, we are 6-5. Week 13, I got a loss. Okay. The Buccaneers, Dave Canales, that's the reunion. That's going to give a lot of extra motivation to outcoach his former team. The Bucs have had our numbers in recent years, and this matchup will be personal. But I think the Buccaneers' continuity, the talent, the advantage could prove too much for us. And I expect Canales to try to pull out all the stops, but it's still a loss there versus Tampa Bay. So 6-6. And then week 14, it's a loss. A trip to Philadelphia is not going to be an easy one. The Eagles are a formidable opponent. They got a hostile crowd, right? To stand a chance, Carolina must play a near perfect game. Unfortunately, the Eagles have home field advantage, and overall talent might be too overwhelming. I see the Cowboys game. You got them coming to town, bringing a well-rounded roster, despite some off-season contract mismanagement by them, but it's neither here nor there. This game will really test our resilience. I think if the Panthers can control the clock and establish that ground game, they might be able to keep it close and win this. But right now, if I'm looking at talent-wise, I'm taking Dallas. I think they tipped the scales over us a little bit. Week 16, Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. I think it's we're closing out the home schedule. We face Arizona Cardinals, a team with explosive talent but inconsistencies. Carolina dig deep. They dig deep in this game. They went on a high note, fighting just enough to outlast the Cardinals in a scrappy affair. And we're 7-8. Last but not least, I think week 17 is a loss. I think we get swept by the Bucs. Panthers travel to Tampa for a late seasonal division showdown. You got playoff implications, likely playing for the Bucs. This game carries some extra weight. I expect a hard-fought battle, but I think Tampa's playoff push might be too strong, and they overcome us on the road. All right. Last but not least, week 18 wraps up the season against the Falcons. Could be, for the NFC South crown. They probably play this game. The Panthers might we probably are just going to be playing for pride at this point. That doesn't mean I would count them out, but you end the season with a losing record. It definitely would sting, but I have us at, 7-10. It's a 5-win improvement under Canales. To me, that signals growth. That's all I'm hoping for. I went from 6-11, but now I'm saying 7-10. All right. I think this is going to be an absolute roller coaster of a season. There's going to be a lot of highs, there's going to be a lot of lows, and then there's going to be a lot of learning opportunities. I don't think a playoff berth. I think a playoff berth is out of reach. I think the foundation of our future success is being laid brick by brick. I'm going 7-10. That is my final record prediction. I'm going to go with 7-10, folks. PPP's in the chat. Chatting it up. I can totally agree with this record. PPPC Doug, Roadmaster, what's up? 7-10 is an excellent rebound and shows progress. Absolutely. Absolutely. So there you got it, folks. 7-10. I'll open up the chat or for you guys. I'll open it up. Y'all can come in and talk. If you have your thoughts. I would be satisfied with that. Yeah, Tony, I mean, it's not a bad. I mean, I think, again, for me, it's all about progress. It's all about progress. PPP, what up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Oh, man, I'm hanging in there, man. Trying to put the paint where it ain't. You feel me?
I
Yeah.
feel you. I feel you. What's
Hey,
going
man,
on?
Oh man, I totally love your record prediction, man. I totally get it. I understand completely. You know, I think I start off the season a little bit differently than you, but I think for the most part, I think we're kind of similar, especially when it comes down to that Chiefs, like that Week 12 stint going on down a little bit. I think we're kind of similar until we get to like the last two games. But
Yeah.
I totally understand. I get it, man. A lot of people are in a well, let's wait and see. Let's kind of like if you know anything about flying, kind of in a holding pattern. Just kind of
Right.
surveying. Trying to see what's going on. But yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to put that 10 or 11 mark for me because of last year. Like I gave that 10 mark last year and my mouth has been dry. That's why I drink a gallon a day. Because of how much crow I was eating from last year, I'm still eating it. But it's like now I have to feel like I have been so optimistic
Yeah,
ever since I've been a content creator, like for the
yeah,
past, and I've been doing this for 3 years now.
yeah.
It's like I've been optimistic. And then I sit here and then I'm just like, I get played, right? And so I'm just like, I can't put myself in that position again. And to me now, it's like I have to see it to believe it. I have to
Gotcha.
see what this all this offseason talk, all of what we saw at training camp, all what we saw at the joint practice, all what we
Hmm.
saw in that Bills game. I need to see it now. The pads are about to come on. I
Yeah,
need to see it on the field.
yeah. No, absolutely, and I get it. I've been a fan of this team since 2003 when I moved to Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the ups and downs. I've
Right.
seen the stint where we were good. I've seen the stint where we were horrible. And I've only been a content creator for a little bit up under 2 years now.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I guess maybe I just have an I don't care attitude about what people say about me.
Yeah.
you know, because
Right.
opinions are just the opinions, and
Yep.
if someone's going to deem you quote unquote dumb or I've heard some things saying, man, don't follow that podcast because because they said this thing, man. And everything is opinionated, man. At the end of the day, you know, um, Some just have more of an optimistic view than others. But I mean, I really can care less what anybody says, concerning the
Yeah, it's
opinion
not
that I
even.
give.
Yeah, I don't. To me, it's not about the opinions and what,
Mhm.
and that it's more or less about what I truly believe in. And again, it's like, and it's just like how I started the show out. Like we have such a fan base that is just so divided amongst just that we don't know if we're coming or going half the time. Like,
That's a fact.
and so it's like we got a fan base that is one side is we're going to win 10, 11, 12 games. We're going to be playoff pushers, right? Where we have another side of the fan base where we suck. Bryce Young's terrible. Dave Canales won't last year another year, right?
Right.
And then we have where I'm at,
Yeah.
and I'm like, listen, I think there is a lot of good pieces. I think there's a lot of pieces in place to this puzzle. I
Yeah.
feel like we're just missing a couple of puzzle pieces that we need to find to fill in those other gaps.
Mhm.
But everything is there now to where we need to see progress from our franchise quarterback,
Yeah.
or hopefully is our franchise quarterback, right, of the future.
Right. Mhm.
And I think, again, I think a lot of people don't take in consideration what happened last year and don't take into those count those factors out and just say, well, this kid sucks. And Frank Wright wanted CJ Stroud and he didn't get his guy. And it's really on David Tepper. But then it's
Yeah.
like, but then people backtrack off of that. So it's like, I'm just like, that's why I'm like, my expectations this year are to be realistic. And this is why I did my record predictions the way I did today.
Yeah.
And again, it's like I said, I just need to see those 5 things from Bryce Young. If I
Yeah.
see those 5 things from Bryce Young, that tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I love all the 5 points that you did give. I think the one thing for me is more important is. I'm sorry, I got a phone call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, man, is the red zone. I want to see Bryce Young really attack that red zone. That 20 on into the end zone area, man. And I think the biggest thing for us also is like capitalizing on field position, because that's something that we
Mhm.
did not do last year. We
Mhm.
could have gotten the ball on the 45,
Yep.
and we only made it to the 45 on the other side. So I want to
Mhm.
see us start if we can do those things. And plus, we have people that's in the office now that's football guys that played football. And I really trust Dan Morgan's thought process and his direction that he's going. Dave Canales being a 10 plus year, coach in the NFL. I have a lot of faith in this young, energetic team. We haven't seen it yet play out week 1, but I am hopeful that we'll see something more competitive than what we saw in just the past previous year. So, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I think hope is the word of the year, like for Carolina.
Absolutely.
Like it's like that's the biggest key of this year's hope. Like we have hope that this team is going to pan out right the way that we want it to. And I think a lot of Panthers fans and it sucks. Like it sucks that I feel like I have to like it's not like I have to, but I feel like this is where I'm at with 7-10 because I hate that I'm at 7-10 though, because I feel like I'm accepting mediocrity and I'm not a fan of accepting mediocrity, but I have to because I saw what happened last year,
Right.
right? And so it's like I have to accept the fact of the mediocrity, and as much as I hate that, and as much as I love this team, that is why I went with this because I
Yeah.
just cannot sit here and put 10 or 11 wins for this team. Now, again, if they prove me wrong, great. I'm not going to be like pissed off about it, but you know, I just see it being 7-10. I think there's some things that just need to come together. Like I said, those 5 things for Bryce, those are just the ones that I think are realistic. The same thing with the other realistic goals I set for the whole team, right? And this coaching staff and this front office, right? And those were the first goals that I went over to. I think all those goals that I've set for this team, um, I think are very attainable. I think they're realistic, and that's the reason why I went 7-10 this year.
Yeah.
I did watch your podcast. I watched your show, and I saw what you predicted.
Yeah.
Um, you sounded like me last year. Be honest with you,
Right.
you remind me of me last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how that works. But I'm not going to be one of those guys that come on here and be like, this kid fucking sucks. I'm not going to
Right.
be like
Right.
that. But I think I think another thing is, there's three things that we gotta like for Carolina Panthers fans is that number one, hope, number one, patience,
Yeah.
or number two, patience. And I would say those were probably the two biggest things that we got to have this year.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with you. Real quick before I go, man, and thank you for letting me up on the stage, guys. If y'all haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Show some love, man, because this is good content here from Clay, man. So y'all make sure y'all hit the like button, man.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The one thing that I will say, man, is one thing that kind of went into my, my 11-6, man, was I looked at some of the games that we did play.
Right.
And I know that the defense kind of kept us into a lot of games, and some of those games were, I want to say, the Lions, the Dolphins, late with the Saints, and when we were at their spot, Cowboys maybe third, fourth quarter got away from us. Trying to think, is there anything else that kind of sticks out? Jaguars was a low scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to. Everything. Minnesota was kind of in there at some point. We had Andy Dalton for the Seahawks, so I my reason for saying all this is it's not like we got blown out in every single game. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Like the 2-15 record would allude to, man. We just got mollywopped like the Dolphins and the Broncos,
Oh my
70 to
God.
whatever, 20. It wasn't like that, And I
Right.
think
Right.
with just a little bit of fine tuning and just, kind of what Canellis brings, to the table along with Dan Morgan,
Yeah.
I think that may edge us into being a lot more competitive and have a lot more games that actually do, are determined, possibly in the fourth quarter. Maybe we can, edge them out maybe in the third and kind of skate through. But
Mm-hmm.
I just want us to be competitive this year.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Be competitive all four quarters. And kind of bring that thought process like we had with the Jets joint practice.
Yep.
Like, man, we
Mm-hmm.
thought they was gonna be that competitive.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
that's what I'm thinking. But Clay, I appreciate you for letting me up and just say a couple words, man. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime, man. You're more than welcome to come on at any time. And I do want to allude to, because I like, even though with my record prediction, I want some of you guys to understand too, you guys in the chat, but also PPP. Like, I do see some games, even though where I might have picked some losses, I do see some of those games where they can where they could be some toss ups. But as of right now, I'm gonna, I'm sticking with my 7-10. But yeah, PPP, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, man. He does great content over there. So PPP, before you go, give your channel a shout out and where they can find you.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And thank you once again, Clay. Guys, my name is Demetrius, and I host a podcast called Panthers Prime Podcast, covering the Carolina Panthers. You can find me on YouTube, also Twitter, Facebook. We just got a fan base today. So we'll be dropping some content over there on fan base, trying to see how things go with that. But everything
Nice.
is going to be the same handle, Panthers Prime Podcast. So I appreciate it, Clay. Thank you so much, my brother.
No problem, man. PPP, I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you later, brother.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one.
All right, you too. So shout out to PPP coming in for the podcast, coming on the show. Everybody, make sure y'all go follow him. Make sure you go like and subscribe over his channel. And of course, where he said fan base and Facebook, and of course his Twitter. I'm sure he's got a Twitter handle, probably the same thing. So go check him out on Twitter as well. So he does great content too. I've been watching him a lot lately. I love what he brings to the table, the energy, the insight. He's very good at what he does. So shout out to him. I appreciate him coming on. And so shout out to people. We had to give him we had to give him the air horn. We had to give him the air horn. All right. We had to give him the air horn. So yeah, guys, 7-10, man. Like I said, just try to keep it realistic. My expectations again, and I'm keeping them low. And if I'm wrong and they win more games than that, guess what? Works out in my favor. Keeping the expectations low so that I don't get disappointed. You know what I mean? Again, Jeff, I see your comment. Again, I don't think that this team can't win more. So don't get me wrong. I just feel that I need to see it first. I'm taking that, see it on the field first, see it to believe it. You know what I mean? And that's all it is. It's not saying I don't think this team can win more. That's just the approach I'm taking this year because I just don't want to be eating my crow again, folks. I don't want to be eating my crow again. Because I was eating it a lot last year, right? I was eating it a lot last year. So appreciate y'all joining the live stream. Guys, don't forget about the NFC South Roundtable tonight at 7 p.m. Of course, shout out to Roundtable Sports.
Roundtable Sports Network brings you NFL divisional debate coverage on a weekly basis from your favorite content creators across YouTube, featuring the AFC East Roundtable live Monday and Wednesday evenings, the AFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC South Roundtable live Tuesdays at 7 p.m. EST, the NFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST, the AFC West Roundtable live Tuesdays at 9 p.m. EST, the NFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST, the AFC North Roundtable live Wednesdays at 6 p.m. EST, the NFC East Roundtable live Thursdays at 6 p.m. EST. Roundtable Sports, real coverage from real fans.
So shout out to Roundtable Sports, guys. Go make sure you go check out that. We're gonna be live tonight, 7 p.m. We're gonna be doing a week 1 preview for each and every one of our teams. We're gonna be breaking it down on there. We're gonna be live 7 p.m. So appreciate everyone joining. Make sure you pound that like button, hit the subscribe button, become a member today. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media. Join the Discord as well. It is free. All my links are down below in the link tree. Also, go check out BetUS today. You'll get 125 bonus on your first 3 bets up to $2,000. So shout out to BetUS, the sponsorship of the Ropp Star Report. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Always be safe. Have fun. And of course, keep pounding. Peace.